And good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Money Matters. My name is Nev. I am your host today. And boy, do we have some news when it comes to crypto. I am all tingly just thinking about what's been going on and what is happening. And what is actually happening? Well, Bitcoin went bananas. Yes, it started pumping. Ethereum was pumping. We're hitting all new all-time highs. And of course, the market is up and running. This is the most exciting thing you could be watching and paying attention to in this decade, potentially, but definitely in this time right now. And this is, of course, February 9th, 2021. So what in the world is going on? Well, we have all kinds of news of what's happening. We do have some very smart and prominent people that decided to get onto the crypto train, like I said they would. And of course, what happened with the price? Well, the price, you went to bed at one point and boom, it just gapped up. And that is exactly what I said I expect to happen. Now, I didn't know the exact date of when we would see this, but we definitely saw it happen. Now, I know many people were out there talking about watching the football game and looking at that stuff. But for me, looking at some of the stuff on TradingView, I'll tell you what, that is the most exciting thing we could ever be talking about. So that is what we're going to be discussing. We're going to be discussing what has happened, where the market price has gone, where the market cap is, what's going on right now with different cryptos, and what can we expect to see in the future. We're going to be talking about some regulation. We're going to be talking about the continuous wall of money that I think is still yet to come. We're going to be talking about what Apple might or might not be doing. What's going on with some of the Polkadot and where can you get some of the really good wallets in Polkadot ecosystem. We're going to talk about Ethereum and the fact that it went bananas and it continues to go bananas. And of course, we're going to be taking a look at the chart. I do want to welcome everybody who is watching this live right now when we're streaming it live. So feel free to say hello in the chat box. And if you're not watching this live, hey, hello and welcome as well. Do the comment section, put it in. I do read and respond to those puppies. All right, y'all, let's do this. All right, y'all. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. Hey, happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? My gosh, I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's all turned into just one giant week ever since March of 2020. So we've been in one giant week, in my little humble opinion, for about a year now. My gosh, it's been crazy stuff. But what is super exciting in this crazy world is what is happening in the crypto world. So let us get started. Let's take a look at what's going on in the market. So let's switch over to the market view. Let's go in. Well, we're not in the market view. We're in CoinGecko, but we're looking at the market. So, of course, I did refresh so that we are getting the brand new, freshest of the fresh prices and where it's happening. So as you can see, Bitcoin is right now at $45,119.39. We did go down just short of 3% in the last hour, but we did pump quite a bit over the last couple of days. We were up well over 40% at one point. Now we're sitting at 35.1% in 7 days. Ethereum is currently trading at $1,717.10. I know you were guessing 17 cents because that would be kind of fun, like 17, 17, 17, but it's 17, 17, 10. We did actually do really well with Ethereum as well. And then when we saw the Bitcoin kind of take over, the Ethereum did continue to kind of go in. We did hit the brand new highs. One of the things that is really interesting to note is that we're seeing some changes in the top 10 of the cryptocurrencies. And of course, they're measured by the market cap. And when we take a look at that stuff, we're noticing that, of course, Tether is now in third position. He has been there for a while. We're noticing that XRP is going down, kind of like what I expected. And some of the altcoins that actually have a purpose and things in their lives that they're doing and doing really, really well are actually starting to bubble on up. One of the bubble on up things is Polkadot, which is currently trading at $22.70. It has had a nice almost 40% pump in 7 days. Cardano, stock ticker or for crypto, ticker ADA, up 67% in 7 days. We are trading down a little bit over the last 24 hours. XRP is still holding steady at 45 cents. Number 6 spot. Binance coin actually has moved on up as well. We're seeing this great reshuffling that I think is going to be a theme of 2021. Litecoin has finally fallen down, and I think it's going to fall down even lower. Chainlink kind of breaks my heart, I won't lie. It did go down, but it is at $25. So I think that Chainlink actually still has many places to go. And I think we're going to be seeing a price action that I don't think that the current price of Chainlink is actually priced in for everything that it does and everyone that is using it. So that's something that I am paying attention personally. Then we have the Dogecoin. Yes, doggies. Who doesn't like a cute dog? Come on, give me a break. But it has bumped 128.2% over the last 7 days. And we saw this puppy go from 0.01 all the way to 0.0788. And of course, we do have Elon Musk to thank for some of that stuff and some of his crazy tweeting. And then people started to go in and everybody started to talk about it. Then it went on to the mainstream media. And next thing you know, this puppy started to go on up. Could it be as much as 10 cents? Yeah, it's possible. So we'll see. It's definitely an interesting piece to pay attention to. Now, of course, we're seeing Bitcoin Cash is actually going down. Stellar is in 12th position. And then we see some coins down here that are still not in the top 10, but I think they deserve to be. Aave is one of those things, in my humble opinion. Uniswap is one of those things, in my humble opinion. We still have some of the other things potentially that I think should climb on up. Compound is one of them. Sushi actually has a very good potential for that as well. Yuma has been performing incredibly well, and if it continues going in this direction, I think it will actually climb into the top 10 potentially. The graph actually is doing really well, has been performing well, and it's still a pretty darn new project. I do highly think that the graph is going to be climbing into the 10th position. Now, again, I am naming like 20 different coins to be in the top 10, so I do acknowledge that piece, but I'm looking at some of the quality projects and I'm kind of excited about what is going on and where they're going to go. Now, one of the things before we continue that I have failed to mention, it is in the description, but I want to say it nonetheless whatsoever, is that nothing I say here in this show ever is or should be used as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. I'm not your uncle, giving you and telling you what to do. I am just sharing my thoughts and how I view different things around the market. All right, let's take a look at the top performers. So what's been happening 24 hours? BitTorrent actually is the top performer, pumping as much as 129.5% in 24 hours and 230% in 7 days. Of course, looking at a chart, we do see that is actually sharply coming down. So that's something to pay attention to. Terra is in the second position at 52.2. Pancake Swap 33.4. Filecoin 28%. Binance Coin 24.5. Stacks 20.3. Digibyte 16.9. OKB 16.2. Tron 14.9. My gosh, we have actually had a lot of really nice pumps in the 24 hours. On the losing end of things, not a whole lot of losers. There's some that have pumped really, really nicely over the last week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that we are seeing prices start to come down. Voyager token is in the top position at negative 13.1%, followed by Balancer at just shy of negative 10%, negative 0.9. Swissborg down 8.6, Loopring down 7.8 and 9. Compound down 7.4, Aave 7.4 down, Avalanche 6.4 down, and then we get into the low 6s and 5s and so on. But these are the altcoins that also have performed incredibly well over the past few weeks. So if you are hodling one of those things, hey, congrats, you likely have made quite a bit of money. And if you're hodling anything in the crypto space, chances are pretty darn good you're actually making some good money, because based off of everything we're seeing, hey, we do know that we are in this magical, beautiful, potentially multi-year bull run that we could see end sometimes this summer, fall, maybe in the winter. We'll see kind of if it ends up extending and where it all ends up going. Now, one of the biggest pieces that I wanted to share with you is that if you are using something like CoinMarketCap, you might have noticed something a bit interesting, and they're saying, hey, Tesla Model 3 is being listed as the top cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency tracking and data site CoinMarketCap has listed Tesla Model 3, the world's best-selling electric vehicle, above Bitcoin in its site. And you can actually see right here on the screen that they actually listed it as a top 1 performance, then put Bitcoin, then put Ethereum. Now, as per the image that I just explained, the Model 3 token sells for $37,990, the actual price of the car, with a market cap of $24 billion and a circulating supply of 902,895. However, before you get excited and start Googling, how do I buy this darn thing? It's not a token. It does not exist, so you can't buy it. This is just the CoinMarketCap way of sort of paying a tribute to what has happened with Tesla and them officially getting into it and announcing it that they are now in Bitcoin. So, of course, it's not Model 3. The top performing and top ranked cryptocurrency is Bitcoin, still is Bitcoin. And this is just a homage to what actually has happened with this enterprise. So, of course, you know, Elon actually has been tweeting about the Dogecoin. He also put in Bitcoin in his profile. Then he kind of took it off. Then he's been toying around with everybody's emotions. But on Monday, it was officially announced that Tesla has officially entered into the Bitcoin space with their treasury. So, of course, they have now de-risked Bitcoin to the public companies and accelerated the transformation of the digitalization of corporate balance sheets. So I think that that is one of the things that we can definitely pay attention to. And of course, we do have an article to really take a look at what has happened. So, of course, the prices are going super high, and we expect that they're going to go even higher. So on Monday, the electric car maker Tesla disclosed its $1.5 billion, that's with a B, dollar investment in Bitcoin and signaled openness to acquire more digital assets. And of course, this kicked off Bitcoin into the overdrive. We went from the, low to mid 30s all the way into $48,000 per Bitcoin. So we're slowly but surely approaching that 50,000 that I know many people have been waiting for with an awaited breath. And I think once we hit it, we might kind of come back down and sort of do this consolidation piece. But I think it's going to go much, much higher. And of course, we do have some of the reports talking about that. I personally think that in this bull market, on the low end of things, we could be in the 200,000 level per Bitcoin, all the way to about $600,000, probably 500 something. So that's sort of the range, and it's a super big range, but we also have a super big timeline ahead of us, and we don't quite know exactly what is going to happen, how many more companies are going to jump onto this train. I think many of them will. As you know, Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, the sort of the newest OG to the crypto space and to the Bitcoin space, has held a conference for the large corporations to kind of go in and how do you buy Bitcoin for your treasuries? How do you actually enter the space for that? And so that actually has occurred last week, and I think we talked about it in one of the previous episodes. But what this is going to be is that now, if some of them are learning about it for the first time, it's going to take them time to actually get everybody on board, get everything signed, get everything completed, go over to the OTC desk and be able to get stuff over the counter and try to get as much as humanly possible. So that's one of the things that is we can expect. And so this is going to take a little bit of time. For some of the companies, it could take a couple of days. For some of the companies, it might be a few weeks. And for some companies, it might even be a few months. So I think now where we are, February 9th of 2021, all the way up into the summer and stuff, we could actually see more and more and more companies going and buying it and then announcing it, because the cool piece that ends up happening That has happened with MicroStrategy, it has happened with Tesla, it has happened with like just about every company has announced it, that every time they announce a purchase of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin actually goes up in price. So that's beneficial for them because if they're invested in it, well, they end up making money. Makes sense. Why wouldn't you tell people that you're invested in something if the price is going to go up, meaning that you actually make some money pretty much right away? So that's number one. Number two is we've also seen that when the announcement is made, their stock tends to go up. So their company as a whole is valued much more. So of course, they get benefit basically from two sides of the spectrum. It's kind of like if you were invested in Tesla and you invested in Bitcoin. You basically got a double boost from Elon's post that, hey, we actually did end up purchasing it. So of course, they end up purchasing this stuff. And so this is kind of where we could see this happening. And that's why it's kind of hard to imagine of what could happen with the price. I think the 200,000 is a conservative if we were just talking about the regular old boring bull market. I know I call bull market boring, but I'm talking about like not this crazy companies are jumping in. Now with all the companies coming in and the wall of money coming to go in and buy it, we're going to see something very, very interesting. And here's kind of one of the things that I'm expecting to see, that not only are we going to see the companies go in and buy it and then they announce it, and then of course Bitcoin goes up in price, their stocks go up in price as well. Another piece that we're going to see is that the supply of Bitcoin is, well, depleted, more or less, right? It's not as much out there. So aside from the retail investors buying it, right, on the exchanges and stuff, the OTC desks only have so much. And once they're purchased, they are purchased. So how many more billions of dollars can enter into the Bitcoin space? And of course, once they enter the Bitcoin, they go into Ethereum and then they start going into everything else. So that's where we're going to see sort of the boom coming into crypto market as a whole, not just for the Bitcoin. So that's something that is interesting. So as the supply ends up shrinking, but demand still stays high and continues going rising, they might not be able to buy from the OTC. What they might have to do is actually go onto the exchange and buy it. Well, what happens when you go and buy an exchange in high quantity? The price actually just gaps on up. So now what we saw, this gap with Bitcoin, we went from like mid 30s to like high 40s, right? I mean, it just was a straight up line. If you look at the chart, and we're going to look at the chart in a moment, but you will notice that, and you might notice not just like an $8,000 to $10,000 rise. You might notice that we go from, say 50 to like all of a sudden we're like at 72 or 75,000, right? Then you go all of a sudden from like, then it kind of comes back down to the 60s. Then you go from the 60 to like, 80 or even 100. We are going to see those days. When they're going to happen, I don't know, but I do believe that they are coming. Just like I believe that we're going to see these gap days. I didn't know who's going to set it off and how, but it turns out it was Elon. So, hey, thanks, Elon. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. So Tesla's move is notable given that it's the first Fortune 500 company to diversify cash holdings into the cryptocurrency. Although the actual amount isn't large comparatively speaking, the signaling effects and market reflexivity of projecting other global market leading companies to do the same will have a positive spiral effect on prices. And I absolutely agree. Now, reflexivity is this theory of a positive feedback loop between what you think is going to happen and then the economic fundamentals and then what actually happens. And so when you believe that something's going to go into the price, up in price, you end up buying it. As you buy it, the price goes up and more people go into it because they believe the same thing. And it keeps on basically going in and building on itself until it doesn't. Right? And we enter this sort of the bubble territory thing, and then it kind of has to come down, and then we go in and we basically fix. Now, right now we are in a bull market, and I do expect that the bull market is going to run for a good part of 2021, if not even potentially longer, just because we're seeing the cycles actually extending. We're seeing that more companies are coming in, which means it's stickier money, it's bigger money, and so this market is becoming much more robust. Now, one of the interesting pieces that I wanted to share with you, hold on over here, let me get into this stuff because I didn't share this, but I want to share this right now. So let's take a look at what's going on. I wanted to go, we're back into the coin Gecko, and I wanted to look at the market cap. As you can see, the market cap of Bitcoin alone right now is $847 billion. Right? So as the market cap actually ends up growing, I'm going to highlight over here so you can take a look by yourself. But as we see the market cap growing, this is signaling to other companies that this market is large enough to actually enter. We've talked about this in previous episodes, that some of the large companies, when they're talking about like, you know, tens and hundreds of millions and tens and hundreds of billions of dollars, some of them even trillions of dollars, that they are so large and doing so much volume and so much money is kind of coming their way and they're churning it. You know, looking at something that is a few million or even few billion is just not big enough for them. It's kind of like as you know, that, you know, we always talk about real estate, and I'm really big on real estate investing as well for different purposes, right? Because I like it not just for appreciation, for tax component, for depreciation stuff, as well as for the passive income. So that's sort of the play with the real estate. Now, within the cryptocurrencies right now, the biggest play is within the appreciation model. But of course, there are some passive ways now that you can go in, put into the liquidity pool, and be able to earn money. And of course, you can do that. You can't really do it with Bitcoin. You can do it with wrapped Bitcoin. You can do it on Ethereum platform for sure. And there are many ways to do it. Many people have been doing it. Year farming is another one to do it. So, right. So there's multiple different ways. And I think more ways are being explored and developed continuously. And it's going to get easier and simpler and more automated for us to do that. And that's going to be a beautiful play, especially if you combine it with some of the benefits of the real estate stuff. But one of the things when we talk about the real estate is that when you go to the bank, right, in certain banks, right, we talked about how they won't lend you money on a mortgage for a property that is worth less than 100,000 because it doesn't make sense for them. It's just not big enough. Same thing if you go into a large commercial space or larger commercial space, so that's 5 units and up. If you go into that space, there's going to be many banks that are not going to want to lend you unless you're at least million, and there's other banks that are not going to lend you unless you're 10 million or more, and there's some banks that won't do anything if it's 100 million or less. So same thing over here happens with the corporate world. So now they're looking at this stuff. They're also looking at the market cap right over here. You can see the market cap right now of crypto is $1.3 trillion right now. So this is starting to become now a large enough investment for them to actually consider getting into it, and many of them will. So now it's time to talk about what ends up happening. Well, as the price goes up, the market cap goes up, more companies go in, more buyers go in. As they go in, the upper pressure is on prices. And of course, one of the things that we know about Bitcoin that is different from some of the other assets, like for example, physical gold, is that if physical gold goes up, you know, tenfold, right? And so we're now, let's say that it's 2,000 and goes to 20,000. Well, everybody and their grandmother is going to go and start mining for gold and melting and smelting and doing all these stuff, right, to increase the supply and meet the demand. You can't do that with Bitcoin. It's locked in, it's in the code, and that's it, right? And, you know, I know everybody's talking about, well, you could change the code. Yes, but you have to have all these different people that are validating that are nodes to agree on it. And many of them won't. So could we potentially see another fork of Bitcoin? Yeah, I think so. But I think the original Bitcoin as a Bitcoin, I think is going to remain as is. So if we do see that we have some validators say, no, we like this new method and we're going to increase and meet the demand, it's going to become some sort of Bitcoin something, right? Like we had a Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV and that kind of stuff. We might have like a Bitcoin New World or whatever. And so, but it's not going to be Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin itself, I have high doubts that it's going to change, and that's what makes it super hard money, and that's why we're going to see these ridiculous prices. And then, of course, when it comes back down, I think, you know, if it comes, well, not if, it will definitely come down at some point when we get into the bear market right before the halving again, right, which is scheduled to be in, you know, approximately 3-ish years plus minus. And so we're going to see that come our way as well, but I don't think it's going to be be below 50,000. So right now, where the price is in the 40 something thousand, 46, 45, 46,000 dollars, I believe that that is still a price that is below what the new next low is going to be. So that's just my humble opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. I have no clue how things are going to play. This is just sort of my analysis that I have done for myself. Tides are continually shifting in crypto, and what may be lurking close to port are sovereign funds becoming the next wave of institutions to adopt this corporate playbook. So right now we're seeing corporates kind of getting in and playing with the treasuries and doing that stuff. What is going to happen, what I think is going to happen, and I agree with this particular statement right here, is that we might see some of the sovereign funds, some of the countries actually start entering into the space, and it's just a matter of time. Now, nobody's going to say, well, tomorrow I'm going to buy this, because if they say it, then the price goes balloon up, and that doesn't make sense for them. So what might want to do is sort of wait for the price to come down, you accumulate quietly, and then when you're kind of done accumulating, boom, you release it into the eco space, and then the price really skyrockets. We're seeing high volume across the board in call options ranging from $56,000 to $72,000. If the option market is any indication of enthusiasm across investors, we will be going a lot higher. Increased activity in call options ranging from $52,000 to $72,000 does not necessarily mean traders anticipating a bull market to peak around those levels. They are playing the short term, so they are playing with the 1, 3, and 6 month put calls. So we are expecting that we're going to see some of the price action, that we're going to hit this 50,000, probably sale right around there, 50 to 52. Then we're going to kind of come back down, probably go back on up, likely see the high 60s, maybe even 72. Then we're probably going to go back down, and then we're going to shoot back on up. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. It could be grossly wrong. So again, don't use this as a financial advice to invest. Do your own due diligence. And if you need a financial advisor, well, find a certified one. Just make sure that they do what they tell you to do, and that they know what the heck they're talking about. The slight drop from highs look to be a typical bull breather, often seen following a strong rally, right? So we're at that 45. This is super healthy. We're going to take a look at the charts, I promise. Now, the Musk rally has established a 42.5 dollar as the new support, 42,500 new support, and prices could rise 50,000 in the coming weeks. I actually think it might come faster than that. That's just my personal opinion. Tesla's plan to adopt Bitcoin as a payment means for its vehicle is another thing that I think is going to push prices even higher. Now, what's also happening with this stuff as the prices keep on going up? Well, the Europe and the push by the French are looking to basically regulate the cryptocurrencies even better. And this was brought by the chairman of the French authority on the French business stuff, right? The French matters. And so Eiffel basically has said that the European Security and Market Authority, ESMA, should be the responsible authority for the new era of regulation and supervision. And this is the independent EU authority focused on safeguarding stability of Union's financial system and enhancing investor protection, promoting stable financial markets. He suggested more enabling regulators, including a regulatory sandbox for the security token industry, and saying that the current rules hamper development of blockchain technology. Decentralized nature of blockchain could play a crucial role in European economy. So as you can see, they're looking at it, and it wouldn't surprise me if one of them actually ends up adopting it. They're saying, quote, decentralized ledger technology would reduce risks both by speeding up market chain and by its distributed nature that could mitigate some cyber risk raised by centralized market infrastructures such as the single point of failure, keeping Europe competitive. So while yes, they're talking about wanting to go into the regulation, they're also talking about saying, hey, while we do want to regulate, we also want to lax some of these rules and make it easier for this technology to go in. So there's a lot of conversation about it, and I think this is really, really important. I do believe that many more will end up having to lax some of the stuff and provide cleaner guidelines so that more developers, more projects, more entrepreneurs are going to come in And I think we're going to see not just the big reshuffling in the top 10, we're also going to see this giant bull market of the crypto world that is going to look something like the dot-com bubble. Then is going to kind of come back down, and then we're going to see projects that are actually real projects that are doing stuff. Those are the ones that are going to perform. And that's why when I look at some of the altcoins and look at what they're doing and whether they have a use case scenario for what they're building, that's the ones that I'm really excited about and wanting to promote. Because as you know, there's videos on YouTube right now that you can watch, a 10-minute thing, and boom, you can create your own cryptocurrency, release it. But if it's not doing anything, then what's the purpose behind it? Now, if you get a large adoption and you get a community and they figure out ways, something to do with it, it could potentially spiral into something. But overall, I like the utility. What is the utility of the token before I do anything with it? Now, Apple. Everybody is now looking at Apple. Tesla has done its own thing. Is Apple now going to start getting into Bitcoin? Well, while nobody knows, there are, this report is actually talking about that there is a potential that Apple might decide to go into the crypto buying, selling, because it's going to be super, super easy. Now, one of the things that we don't know if it's going to happen, if it's going to come that way, because Apple right now is still not allowing within its own purchase to be able to mine, to be able to do a bunch of different things within crypto. So we'll see, but everybody's kind of looking and saying, is Apple going to go in? Are they going to adopt it? Is it going to put it in their treasuries? And if they actually end up doing that, I think that that's going to be really, really bullish, but I don't know it's something that we should be paying attention to. The other piece that I promised when we started stuff is the Polkadot. As you know, Polkadot right over here, let's take a look, is a number 4 spot. The market cap is right now $21.9 billion. And I think it's going to continue on climbing up. And of course, it's emerging as sort of a potential disruptor for Ethereum. Is it? Is it not? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I can tell you that many people are building on Ethereum. Many people are starting to build on Polkadot. So I think that there is a potential for it. But of course, we're seeing people building on Binance as well. So we'll see how it all ends up happening. But of course, Polkadot is becoming a hot thing. And everybody's like, all right, what are some of the top wallets that support Polkadot, right? Because you can't use one blockchain for another sort of blockchain thing. Not yet. I know interoperability between blockchains is being worked on and developed. It's not quite in the mainstream quite yet. It's still being sort of played around with. I think that that is coming, and we're going to have these wallets that are going to support just about any currency on any different blockchain. But for now, there's a little bit of separation. So you kind of need to understand that stuff. So of course, with this being a brand new thing that is coming in, people want to know, what are the wallets? Well, Polka Wallet is a mobile wallet designed specifically for Polkadot ecosystem. So if you're wanting to do that stuff, then you get into the Polka Wallet and you can do that. One of the key features is the one-glance view of asset information, seamless transfer and receipt, and inbuilt social recovery, user-friendly staking. Polkadot.js browser extension, so you can download this on your browser just like MetaMask, right, for Ethereum. Well, Polkadot.js is the browser extension for Polkadot system. Of course, the Ledger hardware wallet will support it as well, just like it does many other things, and that's the cold wallet cold wallet storage. My gosh, Nev. And then, of course, there's a Fearless Waddle, which is being developed, and it's another one that is really good. Cross-chain account creation, so you can actually do a few different cross-chains over there. Then you can do biometric authentication, dynamic account management, comprehensive wallet function. And so these are some of the wallets that you can do for your Polkadot. Now, it's time to talk about a bit on what's happening with Ethereum. And for that, we're going to change view and change into trading view. So let's go in and take a look at the charts. And we're looking right now in a 1-hour candle for Ethereum. As you can see, Ethereum has hit well over $1,800 over the last few hours. And of course, this was the brand new high, 18,000, 30,000, $1,831, 18,000. People are like, yes. No. We're not at 18,000 for Ethereum quite yet. As you can see, it's been booming quite nicely throughout the January. We've seen this nice little rise on up, and now we actually have this beautiful channel that we're trading in. Let me show you so that it's easier for you to be able to see it. Right over here, take a look from this low right here on February 7th. Here is where we are, and as you can see, we are trading beautifully within the channel right now. As you can see, we're breaking slightly below it, so we're kind of flirting around with this. Where is it going to go? But overall, the entire ecosystem right now is on the top part of the whole thing. We'll see if it's going to hold. The goal is to be, if we can hold at about within the channel right over here, or potentially hold at the high $1,600, low $1,700 level. This is going to be highly beneficial. And again, I do believe that Ethereum, because of everything that is being built on it, because we're in bull market, because when people enter into the Bitcoin space, then they automatically start going into the Ethereum space and other spaces as well. I do believe that Ethereum has a very good potential to hit $10,000 to $15,000 in this bull market, potentially 20,000, maybe even higher. So that's one of the pieces to pay attention to. The second one that I wanted to take a look into is the Bitcoin chart. Now we're looking at the daily candles over here, and if I zoom out, let me zoom out. This is the stuff that I was talking about when we talked about the Elliott waves, right? And here we are. This is February of 2014 right over here. This is sort of that bottom of the market, 2019. Look at that, kind of flattened out, and then we started and got our first sort of bump up in June of 2019. Then we were sort of downward trend till about March of 2020. Then we went into this sort of like a crazy swoop on up stuff happening. Because, by the way, this over here is the mad rally of 2017, and I told you at some point this is going to be a blimp. You're not even going to see it. It's going to look something like one of these blimps over here that were huge at the time, and now they're absolutely nothing. So what happened? We came back down, and we've ridden all the way up into the sort of the second rise, if you would, and then came back down. I did make some adjustments with this stuff to reflect what is happening, and you can see that it's the only thing I adjusted is just this bottom, because my bottom was slightly lower. It looks like we didn't hit that. We likely won't hit it again. Could be wrong, but you can see how beautifully it's following it. Let me see if I can zoom in, and you can see how it's been riding it. We did kind of gap on up, and this is where we are. This is that giant gap that I talked about, where it's sort of, following, and then something happens and boom, you just shoot on up. Right now, we're kind of coming back down sideways. So could it come back down into the $43,000 level? Sure, that's potential. Could it go even lower to the 40? Yeah, maybe, but I think we should be kind of staying there, and then it's going to go up. And as you will see, if I zoom out, let me zoom out. Where are we? So here is kind of where I expect is that we would be right around 290,300 by like Thanksgiving this year. It could end a little bit sooner, so this could go a bit sharper. But this is kind of where we are right now, of what I am thinking might happen. Now, one of the things that you might have noticed when I was playing around with it is that I have this, weird line. So we're going to jump into the logarithmic chart, and this is the lines that I have, right? So now let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. Now it's pretty. So here we go. This is the 2017 rise and the bull component of the whole thing. Let's click on all, right? So we can see it. And here is kind of where we are right now. So this is basically all of Bitcoin and its beautiful history. And as you can see, we're riding this wave. We haven't even hit the blue target market. So this is the price. This is the time where we would hit the blue. which I expect to be, right around, like, if we continue at this pattern over here between 72 and maybe $82,000, then we're going to hit the blue. And that's typically a part where, if you follow the first sort of bull rally, that's the part where we kind of go a little bit higher, potentially come back, ride that line for a little while, and then go bananas. So over here, you can see in the 2017 bull market, we've ridden the purple line, right? Then we've kind of come back to blue, stay there for a little while, and then boo, went ballistic. So we came back to purple, hit the blue, came back. It was too soon. We've been riding below it, which means that we should be overshooting, technically speaking, because it's sort of like a pendulum. When it swings to the super upside, too harshly, it has to swing all the way to the low side super harshly. So we've seen that we've been riding it below. Now there's a good potential that we're going to see this puppy ride into the much higher levels. And again, following this stuff, this is kind of where I'm thinking it could end. But then again, that could end up going much sharper, much shorter. It could actually end up being longer as well. And we'll see where it plays out. If we take a look into potentially, I know that some folks, and I've been one of the folks as well, saying this could potentially end in, sometimes in July, August. So let's take August 1 as the date. We could potentially be looking at about $250,000 for Bitcoin. Again, is it going to be? Is it not? I don't know for a fact. All I can tell you is just looking at the stuff, looking at the logarithmic chart, we haven't even reached what's been happening in the market either. One of the interesting pieces that I wanted to share with you is that right over here, you're able to see, let me change the display just for a moment. One of the pieces that you might see right here is that there is this write-up, if you would, but Peter Brandt, who you know as a trader, who you also know very bullish on Bitcoin, and he's basically saying that it's first half of the way home. So we are not quite where we need to be yet. And of course, here is the drawing that he has put in of kind of what ends up happening. So he's repeated and saying, like, right now at this 46,000, we're only about halfway, and halfway point is, he's pointing it out with the red markers, with the red arrows that basically are just that sort of before we go into another really high up, come back down, another buying opportunity potentially, and then just ride that puppy all the way home. So that's something that is coming. The other piece I wanted to also take a look at on this screen right over here is what's happening in the traditional market. And as you will see, we are negative everywhere, including the Bitcoin index, but Bitcoin did pump like crazy. So there you go. That's all I have for you today. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you have learned something new. I hope that you are excited about what is happening in the world of crypto. I know I am. And I will be doing a show again. We're going to be going through this stuff. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to skip tomorrow because I got to do some stuff. My apologies. It's been a little bit of a crazy timeline between the bull market and everything else that I'm working on. My time is incredibly limited. So unfortunately, we're going to have to skip tomorrow, but it should be an exciting day. Nonetheless, we're going to cover it all on Thursday, when we're going to go and talk a little bit more about real estate, potentially what's going on in crypto, and some of the other things. If you're brand new, if you're liking this stuff, hey, even if you're not new, give me thumbs up. If you are brand new, you want to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the episodes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay forever money blessed. And do remember, you are only one.